So I pretty recently saw a video called "Getting Jacked" in all caps will change your life. And while it did come off a bit superficial to me, and I did see the Boca one-on-one link in the description of the video, so of course the goal is to sell something. I just kind of wanted to give some thoughts on how, after spending nearly a decade in the gym and chasing all these like records or getting my first national title, how anything that I've done has definitely been pretty different to what I feel like I would have ended up doing had I not decided to get into the gym while I was like 16 or 17 years old. I wanted to cover some things that I've experienced in the past few years that have definitely kind of been a cause for reflection after doing the sport for X amount of time. So previously I put up a video titled like 2500 days of powerlifting, and it hasn't been terribly long since that video, but seeing that one do pretty well kind of made me consider having some similar content just put out so that way I could talk more about that specific topic, because it's also been a point where I've been able to actually connect with other people in the comments and them share their own experience. So hopefully I can do that here, but also my goal at the end of the day, if you're kind of like on the fence about getting into lifting, is at least talk about some things that I've done that I feel like I will continue to look back on in a positive light and ultimately never regret the amount of time that I spent in the gym that may have led to those points in time. So looking back on the past few years, I've been really fortunate to have the opportunity to compete at a bunch of local and national meets where I've not only been able to like podium or take away a title, but also get to interact with a lot of people from really different walks of life that I probably would never have met had I not gotten into the sport. I think one of my biggest personal takeaways from getting into the gym and participating within powerlifting has been the ability to interact with just so many people that I probably would have never crossed paths with. Like, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but going through lifting while I was in college, for example, I was studying engineering, so was never really a huge socialite. But getting the opportunity to go into different gyms and interact with different people has been cool because over the years, a lot of those people have remained my friends. I can pretty confidently say that most of the people that I interact with now, just like on a regular basis, or if I'm getting invited to like a Friendsmas or a Friendsgiving, some of them I might have met through lifting. Lifting has given me an incredible sense of community that I feel like otherwise I would not have really had. So a book that I'm currently reading is called The Defining Decade by Dr. Meg Jay. And the book overall is just about making the most of your 20s, but one point that I kind of want to touch on more specifically, and as it pertains to this video, is the power of weak ties. So a weak tie is more so of an acquaintance or just someone that you have met, but you know you're not incredibly close with. And lifting will put you in a position to develop quite a few weak ties. You can grow your network pretty substantially, and when you're doing this in your like late teens and early 20s, it can be cool because these are people that you can really grow with and see through a bunch of different phases in life. And even, you know, when it comes to like college, for example, in the powerlifting world, we have collegiate teams, but it puts you in a position to know somebody whenever you're traveling somewhere new. So when we talk about developing your network through powerlifting, just one example would be like my previous video where I was given the opportunity to hop on a team and compete in a local unsanctioned meet and even make some money because one of my friends who was on the team just reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to join?" And an example of an actual weak tie, just because in that case I was one of my best friends, I was able to reach out while at a powerlifting meet, just talking about how I'm job hunting and I'm about to be graduating. And from that conversation, I was able to send my resume to one person who then sent my resume to multiple people, and I ended up getting the opportunity to interview. And now I'm currently working a full-time job based off of those events lining up. So I feel like I could talk about how networking is just generally beneficial forever. and I'm not even probably one with the most well-developed network since I'm a bit more on the introverted side. But I digress. Networking through powerlifting and networking through getting in the gym has done wonders for me on a personal side. Now, the secondary point, which these are in no order of like relevance, but just another point that I want to talk about is how I believe the discipline of getting in the gym regularly is a form of self care. Now, I think it's pretty imperative to say that I'm glad that 16-year-old Evan got into the gym so that way 25-year-old Evan can say, I still go to the gym and I've been going to the gym for this amount of time. But in going and having a goal in going to the gym has allowed me to achieve things that I didn't really know I would be capable of doing. Like talking about benching 400 pounds when I'd never pictured myself doing that, but now I can say, I'm glad that I spent all this time going because this is something that I'm capable of. Or deadlifting now just south of 800 pounds, or squatting, what did I hit? Like 639? All of these different small things, and this is very powerlifting skewed, but these are things that I can say I'm glad that I kept up with the routine because now I'm capable of doing this and being able to look back on this as an achievement. But I feel like another just base level form of discipline being a form of self care and that pertaining to the gym is just regularly doing cardio. As now I work in a full time job, and a fair amount of the time I'm just sitting at home. Like I work hybrid, so I'm going to use that hybrid advantage. But the adjustment from going to like walking around on campus to sitting down at home all day has definitely showed me that if I'm not regularly getting up and getting on the treadmill, I'm going to be feeling worse, and deciding to take care of myself and just walk more frequently. I definitely feel more energized. I definitely have been able to manage my weight significantly better. And these are goals that I don't think are specific to one necessary demographic. I think anyone who's getting into the gym is probably doing it with the goal of taking care of themselves a little bit more. And that's something that I hope that just about anyone watching this can take away from it. So, third and final point of the day that I just want to cover is the ability to set goals, and how I believe that getting in the gym taught me a lot about reasonable goal setting, but then also being able to develop the ability to set kind of the actions in place necessary to achieve those specific goals. So, powerlifting is pretty specific to just increasing your numbers at whatever given weight class your goal is to achieve those numbers on meet day. And within powerlifting programming, it's pretty straightforward. It's generally, focused on achieving these like top end numbers or these numbers for all of your sets, and then doing certain movements to support the growth within that. Being able to take the time and like coach myself for, I want to say, about 6 or 7 months allowed me to really sit back and think, okay, if I really want to push for improvement within this specific lift or achieve these specific numbers, I need to look at how my accessories are set up in order to support those goals. Or I need to look at my nutrition to make sure that I'm hitting the adequate amount of protein in order to recover effectively for that. Or looking at sleep, or looking at hydration, or looking at activity. The overall point is that it's shown me how important it is to look at the bigger picture when you're setting your goals, and make sure that you're checking all of the boxes instead of just checking a few because those few might be more convenient or easier for you to achieve. I believe that's about all I plan on talking about today. If you found the video helpful, inspiring, whatever, like, subscribe. If you're still watching, I feel like I probably know you in person at this point because there's only going to be like a handful of y'all who do. Anywho, I appreciate it. Hopefully, I'll put up another video next week. If not, see you whenever the next one is. Bye.